The show's biggest song is performed by star Rachel Zegler outside the London Palladium and then live-streamed back to the audience inside.
Do you know those moments in theatre where you go, yeah, I did that in the theatre, and the way it's done is so clever. It goes onto her walking through
This latest revival nods to the outside setting, but with an experimental London twist.
What happens when a Broadway star decides to walk off in the middle of a show? Rachel Zegler turned her Evita performance into a headline-making exit, but the drama didn't stop there. From understudies stealing the spotlight to Disney scrambling to fix a PR meltdown, this story has Hollywood buzzing. Can Disney salvage Snow White, or is this the fairest fiasco of them all? Stick around because this gets wilder than you think. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. The scene was straight out of a Hollywood script, except this time, Rachel Zegler was writing her own plot twist, and it wasn't exactly Oscar-worthy. Imagine being in the audience for Evita, eagerly waiting to see Zegler in her element. The show begins, the curtain rises, and then, well, it all unravels faster than a cheap wig. Mid-performance, Zegler walked off stage, leaving the audience in stunned silence. Did Eva Peron flee her duties this dramatically? Probably not. But Rachel did, and somewhere in the wings was Bella Brown, the understudy who didn't just step in, she stepped up.
But it's the balcony grabbing all the attention. Halfway through the latest revival of Evita, it may be drawing huge crowds, but it's also divided opinion with theatregoers. Actress Claire Sweeney saw it last night and told Good Morning Britain she loved it, something the show's composer has some sympathy for.
I think there will be people who...
By the time Bella hit the final note, the crowd was on its feet. Cue the standing ovation, which, let's be honest, probably ranked as both a career high for Bella and a professional nightmare for Rachel. The fallout started almost immediately. Social media did what it does best, turning a backstage moment into front-page gossip. Critics labeled Zegler as unprofessional, questioning her commitment to Broadway. "If you can't handle the stage, maybe don't take it," one viral comment read. Fans, and even some seasoned theatergoers, slammed her for abandoning not just the audience, but her castmates. The timing of the controversy couldn't have been worse, though, because Zegler wasn't just carrying the weight of Evita on her shoulders. She was also gearing up to lead Disney's Snow White, a film that was already teetering on the edge of a PR cliff. Disney's execs had to be pulling their hair out. After all, this wasn't just about Broadway anymore. Zegler's track record of polarizing statements wasn't helping. Her comments about the original Snow White being outdated, that hit fans like an apple laced with PR poison. Her unapologetic tone on social media, it annoyed audiences further, especially after posts like her infamous "Trump supporters should never know peace" tweet. The heat went from simmer to full boil. Suddenly, a single walkout morphed into a career-sized headline, one that Disney couldn't afford to ignore. And as they scrambled for damage control, their headaches only got messier. But more on that in a second.
The show's biggest song is performed by star Rachel Zegler outside the London Palladium and then live-streamed back to the audience inside. Others have posted on X to complain that they've paid a lot for tickets, only for the biggest number in the show to happen off-stage. Casa Rosada in Buenos Aires was the site of the original balcony, used with special permission in the film with Madonna.
Remember when Disney thought replacing the Seven Dwarfs with so-called magical creatures was a stellar idea? Spoiler alert, it wasn't. This wasn't just a case of fans clutching their pearls over nostalgia. Members of the dwarfism community stepped in and blasted the decision, calling it insulting and backwards. Peter Dinklage himself even weighed in, calling out Disney for what he saw as a lazy attempt at progressiveness, which, let's be real, backfired harder than a 3D printer trying to replicate the Mona Lisa. And to make things even worse, What Disney delivered wasn't 7 diverse actors redefining the story. It was a gaggle of poorly rendered CGI creatures that looked like something ripped straight from a failed Shrek sequel. As if that wasn't cringy enough, the reshoot spent attempting to smooth over those messes reportedly pushed the budget into dangerous territory. Memes poking fun at the leaked set photos made it all worse, turning the creatures into an online punchline before anyone even saw a trailer. But the disaster wasn't just technical, it was personal.
Do you know those moments in theatre where you go, yeah, I did that in the theatre, and the way it's done is so clever. It goes onto her walking through
The theatricality of using film in that way. Are disappointed that she hasn't sung it live in the theatre, but I think it's going to be greatly outweighed by...
This latest revival nods to the outside setting, but with an experimental London twist.
Rachel Zegler's comments about the original Snow White film only poured gasoline on the dumpster fire. Statements like calling the movie extremely dated or labeling Prince Charming as a creepy stalker didn't exactly charm fans. To many, her attitude came across as dismissive, painting her as someone who didn't respect the legacy of the story she was supposed to be reintroducing. And Rachel wasn't exactly helping herself on Twitter. Her Trump supporters should never know peace post added another layer of controversy, alienating a chunk of potential ticket buyers and clashing wildly with Disney's family-friendly image. The online backlash got so bad, it birthed the #Replace Rachel hashtag, with some fans calling for her to be swapped out entirely. Suggestions included Lily Collins or just scrapping the entire thing and trying again. If that wasn't awkward enough, reports of Rachel and Gal Gadot's icy dynamic behind the scenes raised eyebrows. Disney eventually tried pulling Rachel from press tours to avoid more issues, which kind of backfired. Silence doesn't exactly stop the tweets. Between bad CGI, tone-deaf interviews, and endless online drama, magical creatures turned this fairy tale into a comedic tragedy. So, can Disney fix it? Or was this all just one poisoned apple too many? Rachel Zegler's exit from Evita wasn't just a bad night. It became a symbol of everything going wrong with modern Hollywood. Her mid-show walkout spiraled into backlash that reflected broader frustrations, unprofessionalism, tone-deaf statements, and stars who seemed disconnected from their audiences. Disney's Snow White wasn't spared either, as Zegler's controversies turned her into what some call a cautionary tale of the year. Hollywood keeps banking on charm that doesn't translate, leaving fans exhausted. Maybe the lesson here is simple: focus less on damage control and more on avoiding damage in the first place. Will Disney survive this mess or melt entirely?